everyone, good evening, and here we are, chapter 11, Genesis. So Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, started having kids, and they multiplied like rabbits, and they lived hundreds of years. And in chapter 11, we're going to focus on not only the Tower of Babel, but Shem of the three brothers is the bloodline that we're following. So anyway, chapter 11, here we go. And the whole earth was of one language. They all spoke one language at the time, right after the flood and the generations after Noah, and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. They journeyed from the east. They were coming from the east in this land of Shinar. Supposedly it's the land of Saudi Arabia, but I'm not sold on it, to be honest with you. And they said, verse 3, and they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had the brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Kind of like today, nowadays, it seems like the international language that everyone speaks around the world is the English language. As a matter of fact, I'm not American, nor am I native of the English language. I actually come from another country, but here I am speaking English. Go to, let us, okay, verse 7. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language. This is the Lord speaking. That they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the whole earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called the Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. And that's the reason why we speak all these different languages. Continuing on, verse 10. These are the now we go back into the generations, and these are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. You see how the age is diminishing pretty quick, from 900 years now down to 400, and it will go down even faster. Verse 14. And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Rehu. And the Peleg lived after and Peleg lived after he begat Rehu 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Rehu lived 230 years and begat Serug. And Rehu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And here is introduced the patriarch of the children of Israel, but his original name was Abram without the H, which will change down the road. Verse 27. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died before his father, Terah, in the land of the nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran. So Nahor took to wife the daughter of his brother, therefore his niece, as wife, containing the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son's Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. So the whole family, I guess, moved from the Chaldees, which is in Mesopotamia, which is currently Iraq, around that area. And they moved to the land of Canaan. That's essentially where Israel is, around that area right there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And that, brothers and sisters, concludes chapter 11, and essentially taught that of the book of Genesis. And we covered the Tower of Babel that never was, the changing of the language, or everybody spoke one language to now everybody spoke different languages, and the generation of the bloodline of Shem, where we're now come to know who Abram was a descendant of. And with that, I want to thank you for following us also. And by the way, in chapter 7, and I'm still new at this, so bear with me. I'm learning how to do all of this. In the description of chapter 7, I left a link for the discovery of Noah's Ark by Ron Wyatt. You guys are more than welcome to watch, and I think you'll enjoy it too. It's very interesting. And that's that. Well, guys, thank you very much. You have a good evening, and we'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe, and it'll be a great help to my family and I. And hopefully, I got this remote control figured. I think I have to press twice. And no,